Hello gamers! Let's do something interesting, something I don't really do normally. So we're on App Media. It's that big website that all the Japanese FGO players like to use for, like, you know, guides, tier lists, all kinds of community stuff. So it's not an official site, of course, but it's a very popular site for the Japanese players. Now, this was a thing I was linked actually, and I think apparently they do this annually as well, and I never really comment on this. This is like a survey where it's like about the servants the players want to see buffed the most. I think I've heard about these results from some of the previous years, and I always kind of laugh at them, and I can, based on those, I assume I can already maybe think of one or two that might appear on this list as well. But yeah, let's just take a little look around as well. Also, you know what's funny, because we have this picture here as well. Yeah, we got Mahoyoru news today as well, for those that missed it somehow. Yeah, Ufotable put out like new video trailer stuff that confirms that the Mahoyoru movie is actually happening this year, which is awesome. So we're finally getting it. Anyway, let's see. Let's scroll a bit, and I think we should be seeing some results pretty soon. Oh, maybe you can still submit yourself. Ah, okay. Sure. I mean, I'm not gonna do that, but let's just see. Is this already the ranking starting here? Oh. So this is already based. So does this update in real time? Because it says like there's like 15,000 results. So maybe this was posted just earlier and it's now. Oh yeah, it was. Look, it was posted today. Okay, so this has been now live for like maybe 5 or 6 hours. Let me just refresh just to see, because I had this tab open for a while. Let's see if anything is different. Oh, I think it's the same for the top 5 or something. Yeah, the number is now high 17k. Anyway, wow. The number 1 requested servant for buff is actually OG Arjuna. Wow. Very interesting. It's surprising because, again, as you can see, they even list the current amount of buffs here. He already has his full entire kit buffed, but people are still like, hey, you should buff him more. Which I don't blame them too much, honestly. He's not very strong. He's definitely not still very, like, top tier. But I'm semi-surprised he is actually number 1 of all servants. I didn't know he was that popular in Japan, because I don't think he's super popular in NA. Well, our Alter might be a bit popular, same in JP, but surprised about Archer. They list the amount of days since their last buff, so for him it's still less than a year ago for his last buff, but okay, there you go. More buffs for Arjuna, interesting. Number 2 is an interesting one. We got Aoko, actually. She obviously has 0 buffs, and that's why her, you know, latest buff was like her release date, I assume, which was, you know, just under 2 years ago. Also, they show the amount of votes. So 2.5% of all the votes went for Arjuna. 1.9% in 330 votes went towards Aoko. I think they probably could buff her. She's a tricky one to work with, though, because of how her MP obviously works with the transformation. It's a very unique little thing we have. I mean, there's similar stuff nowadays as well, of course. She's not like the most unique thing anymore, but it is harder to try and balance something like that for sure. So would I be upset about an Aoko buff? Not really. They could probably come up with something. I feel like her extra attack still feels a bit too weak at times, even when you have crazy buffs, so they could probably try and come up with something. But at the same time, they have to be careful, because stuff like this can probably still escalate pretty well. But yeah, I don't know. Sure, interesting. Number 3 is an interesting one. It's OG caster Scotty. 312 votes with only 1 buff to her MP in the past, and that was over 4 years ago. Damn, time flies. That was a while ago. I think they could definitely buff her. Like, for instance, her battery, the 3rd skill, only giving 50% battery and doing nothing else is pretty lame, for instance. And all her other skills are very vanilla too. The MP is the only thing that has a bunch of effects on it, even though not all of them are always useful anyway. I do think, though, regardless of her simple kit, that she still absolutely works to this day. Is she a must-have server or anything like that? Maybe not. Most people probably go with Summer Scotty over her, and I would probably recommend Summer Scotty over her too. But both are definitely nice to have, and she's absolutely workable. In fact, I actually like Caster Scotty more in bosses myself than Summer. Unless you're going for like the min turn clear, then Summer probably wins in that sense too, or like she does in farming. But for anything that's not like a min turn clear, I think Caster has more longevity. I much prefer her MP to Summer Scotty's. But would I be mad about a OG Scotty buff? Definitely not. I think they could cook something, but is she in such a dire need that over all the other servants that could use buffs? I don't know about that. But sure, I guess on this one too. Following up on that trend, number 4, we got Tamamo. Okay. So the OG caster, 3 buffs. And the last buff was a whopping 7 years ago. That is kind of shocking, isn't it? I still think she's fine and usable. And a lot of people undersell her because of Castoria existing. But I think they could buff the remaining skill, the skill 2 that has not been buffed, her morph, if you will. They could probably do with some kind of a battery. Maybe like an AoE 20, maybe like a targeted 30, something like that. Maybe another effect on top, maybe some overcharge, because she actually scales really well with overcharge herself. There's definitely things they could do to make her a bit more easier to use. She's easier to use once she gets going in the battle, but the start can be a bit slow at times, depending on your comp. But yeah, I'm not too mad about the request for a Tamamo buff. You know, it's been 7 years after all. Number 5 is Morgan, the OG. 0 buffs, obviously. She's released almost 5 years ago as well. Morgan's an interesting case. She's not the best when it comes to farming unless you have an absolutely cracked copy, because, you know, unless you're hitting her power mod or her super effective, she won't be really doing that much damage. But for bosses, she's actually still very solid. Her kit brings a lot to the table for sure. So many nice effects to have, even if they're like kind of basic. So they're just good effects in general. So I'm not sure if I would be like screaming for a Morgan buff anytime soon. I think even to this day, she's absolutely workable. But maybe something that could improve her farming, that wouldn't break her in bosses at the same time. Not sure what that would be, but they could try. But would not be high prio for me when it comes to buffs. Only Ivan and Skadi are the last Belt Kings to ever get buffs. Yeah, I think there's a reason for that, probably. Maid altar. This is actually, I think this is the first one of these that I fully agree with myself. Definitely of the 6 that we've seen so far in this list, in my opinion, easily the most deserving of a buff of these. Like, she is just weak. Very weak. One of the weakest single target DPSs we have for SSRs these days, I would say. And I don't think that's a stretch. Just a very unforgettable single target quick DPS. So many others, including permanents, can just easily, even 4 stars, honestly, many of them do a better job than her. She's only ever gotten 1 buff to her skill 2 before, and that was over 6 years ago. So definitely in much need of a buff. Hopefully a significant one too. Could be an MP buff as well, wouldn't be mad. So yeah, this is a much needed buff. I agree with this one. Melusine, that is a very amusing joke. No, just don't. Will Quirinus sometimes, you know, out DPS her, or does he have higher damage potential? Sure, but come on, it's Melusine. What does she not do? Like, she's still so relevant. She does not need any buffs. Like, maybe if this was Ruler, we could have some kind of a conversation, potentially. Sure, but Lancer? No. This is just favoritism. But so yeah, I don't get this one. This one I would just skip. Don't even think about it. Cool altar, interesting. He's only ever received an MP buff before, and that was honestly a good buff. And in my opinion, he's better than most people give him credit for. Maybe I do hype him up a little bit more than I should sometimes, but I think she's still solid. Even though the role of quote-unquote the anchor is diminished nowadays, which makes him a little bit less valuable. But I still think he's a very solid DPS. But I would not be mad if they want to buff him. He still has a base guts. They've been slowly buffing all the gutses, the base gutses in the game. So him still having one as a 5-star servant is kind of a crime. So that they could definitely at least buff to have some other effects too. Maybe bring down the cooldown as well. So I'm not mad about this. I think this is kind of fair as well. First Emperor, yeah, on the topic of Lost Belt Kings. 0 buffs, released over 7 years ago. Some people hype him up, like he's still super relevant, he's like the greatest solo of all time, you know, every battle he can do it, but I'm more on the opposite camp where I think he's semi-weak and kind of hard to work with. For instance, getting him stars can be very tricky. He does 0 damage unless you crit, because obviously he doesn't have a damaging MP, and his attack stat is diabolically low for a 5-star servant that's a DPS. So unless he crits with some good support buffs on top, he won't really do any damage. Does that still mean he's not tanky? No, he's still pretty good for solos because of his durable class, his kit, stuff like that, but I think he could use a buff. I do agree with this, honestly. I don't think he's all that good that some people make him out to be. So yeah, he has many issues that could be addressed with a buff or two, for sure. And then number 10 is Herc, the OG, and only ever receiving a buff to his base guts, actually. And that was over 5 years ago. Okay. Not needed. He's fine. He's totally good. He's fine. Again, do I hype him up sometimes a little bit more than I should? Yes, sure, I agree. But still, I think even people that don't hype him up too much, like, come on, with all the 4-star servants, you would give him another buff? No, 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 no. There's so many other 4-stars that could use buffs over him. Like, it's not even close. So if you were to, like, take things into prio, I would not even consider him for a buff until we have all the others in a much better spot. Because he's still a very good 4-star, arguably top tier 4-star that, you know, can rival some 5-stars as well. So I don't agree with this one. Maybe someday, but I don't think that day is yet. And that was the top 10 currently. I think, again, this updates in real time. There's obviously more, but yeah, I don't want to make this video too much longer. I thought it was just interesting to talk about this for now. Like, I'll slowly scroll through. Oh my god, 12 is Arjuna altar. Okay, I have lost all hope. Lady Avalon for your high. This is insane. Okay, there's some absolutely diabolical takes in here as well. I don't understand. Let me guess Logres is here somewhere to make me mold my ass off. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these make sense. Like Jannu, you can definitely buff. Oh my god, why? Okay, I'm gonna end this video, bro. I'm ending this video. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna leave the link to this in the description because I'm pretty sure, again, this updates in real time. So if you want to come back and check this, because the rankings might change. I'm not sure how long this is up for, and I think you can also vote yourself if you're interested. So do that if you want. I'm not gonna vote, but there you go, something different. So hey, if you enjoyed this look into the app media buff desire list, I don't know what to call this, hey, leave a like on this video. It helps out a lot, of course. And do subscribe not to miss out on the future videos. Maybe we'll do something like this again in the future. Who knows, if people like this sort of stuff. And again, tier list probably will be starting next week on this topic. So look forward to a lot of content on the horizon on top of just regular weekly uploads. Shout out to my patrons in the screen right now for supporting the content. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.